Glamping businesses are popping up all over America, and the industry is just simply booming. Even Airbnb is actively changing its platform to push glamping and unique stays. So everything is peachy, and you should hurry up and start a glamping business, right? Wrong. In today's video, I explained the top 5 mistakes I made in the first year of my glamping business so you don't waste your own time, money, and effort. I even throw in a bonus tip near the end of the video that everyone should hear. One of the most embarrassing mistakes that I have done while running my glamp site actually was very back at the beginning of running my glamping business, and that was buying things before I needed them. Often, I would find something that I knew I wanted to buy or have at my glamp site later on. I would find them for a deal. So I'm thinking to myself like, yo, I'm saving money. Like, I'm so responsible. Everyone should praise me. Like, I'm doing a great job by buying this. I think I'm doing a great job by buying this. I think I'm being frugal. But in reality, I'm allowing those intrusive thoughts to win. All I really want to do is play with something new and shiny early on. I don't care even if it's on sale. If you don't need it just yet, don't buy it. The thing that you're not thinking about when you have all these things on hand is, where are you going to put them? Where are you going to install them? Where are you going to save them? A lot of things just ended up lying around in places that they really shouldn't be. A lot of glamping businesses, when you're first getting up and running, like, they're out in the elements. Me personally, I didn't have any storage. So oftentimes I would have things that I didn't need just yet just lying around. Now, one thing about me is I'm a good Christian boy. So thanks, mom and dad, for raising me well. One thing you'll often hear about in churches are seasons: a season of forgiving, a season of repentance, a season of thanksgiving, etc., etc. Well, I want all of you guys out there to think of your glamp site and your glamping businesses as seasons. So if you're not even done building your tiny A-frame cabin, there is no need for you to buy an AC unit. Also, your cabin, when you're done with it, is going to be off-grid, so you won't even be able to plug in your AC system. Now, I'm not talking to you guys out there, I'm literally talking about my dumb butt. I bought an AC unit off Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace super early before I ever even needed it, because I was thinking so far ahead. Once I got that AC unit, I brought it to my land and remembered, oh yeah, I have no place to put this. So it meandered from inside of the unfinished cabin to inside of the unfinished bathroom to ending up literally just being outside in the elements. Obviously, it doesn't work anymore. And also, what was I thinking about? My cabin is off grid. I can't plug that in anyways. And this is what I'm talking about, people. It's very easy to take your eyes off the prize. I always say this, people. I'm not an expert. I'm not a guru or any of that crap. I'm just somebody who loves to obsess about this type of stuff, and also someone who likes to give information. Like, I always like being like a coach and assisting others. So that's why I even started this whole channel. I guess now would be a good time. Support me, help me out, people. Leave a comment down below if you can. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to get to 30,000 subscribers by the end of this year. The only problem is I'm about 17,000 subscribers short. Another mistake I made when starting my glamping business was making things harder than they had to be. I really started off wanting no help. I wanted to do everything myself. I really didn't want any help from anybody. And it's not like I had hubris and thought that no one knew better than me, but I just really felt as though, it's very hard to find people you can rely on. If I'm gonna go down with the ship, I'd rather do it alone, that type of stuff. So maybe a little bit of hubris and macho man in there. So instead of paying for assistants or professionals to come help me out, I spent countless hours on YouTube learning new things, then going out and doing them like half good. Now, if you don't have the funds to get some support, I completely understand. Like, I don't think there's anything out there that is too difficult for you to learn if you're intelligent enough and you're willing to put yourself out there and learn it. But at the time, I was making it so much harder because I live a few hours away from the land I purchased and the glamp site I built. I would constantly have to drive up there just to do one thing or to meet with one person or to do something and then drive back down. On top of that, I had saved up a lot of money to get into this, so I had the funds to hire help. I just didn't want to do it. If I could go back in time, that would be one of the biggest things I would change. I would really take the time to check out and see how much professional assistance would have been for a lot of the different projects I was doing. I want to really explain to you guys how crazy I am, or I was, and hopefully you're not, or just learn from this type of stuff. I didn't even check prices. I just assumed everything was too expensive, even though I had a pocket full of money ready to rock and roll. I assumed everything was too expensive and I just had to learn it myself. I didn't call not one contractor, not one person until much later on in the process. At the very least, pick up the phone, call a contractor, call some people. It doesn't matter how stupid you might sound or feel if you can't explain what you're doing correctly. I really think that you should do that. Now, once I got up and running, another mistake I made is I wasn't being descriptive enough in my Airbnb listing. I would constantly have people messaging me, just asking questions. And this doesn't even go for my glamp site. I also run traditional Airbnbs, 1 beds, 2 beds, that type of thing. And people early on were always asking me like, hey, does it have a dishwasher? Does it have this? Does it have that? And I'm like, yo, I thought all the info was there. Like, what's going on? So what I want you guys to do is really be able to take yourself out of yourself. Have some empathy and feel as if you are someone that is new to your glam site, reading your listing for the first time. Does it really explain everything? And another thing I want you to think about is, because I think some people are doing this and it's really just messing up the industry as a whole, but that's a whole nother rant for another video. I like doing rant videos. I personally believe that some people are leaving information out on purpose, okay? It's all right if your glam site doesn't have a shower. Just say that. There's a lot of different people out there open to a lot of different experiences. Glamping is a spectrum. I believe the spectrum of glamping is just roughing it. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy, and what was the name of that movie? The Revenant? It's The Revenant, isn't it? It's The Revenant. Okay, let's run it back. I believe that I believe that glamping is on a spectrum from Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hardy in The Revenant, like just roughing it, you know what I mean? Like Lewis and Clark type stuff, all the way up there to straight luxury. Like you can see some very expensive glam sites out there. And I think that people fall all throughout this spectrum and they're looking for that. What you really don't want to do is straight up catfish somebody with your glam site. And then they get there and they're mad and they have a bad taste in their mouth for you, but also the glamping industry as a whole. Also, that's just not a good way to have a sustainable business. You're gonna get terrible reviews. You live and die by reviews. You're gonna be done before you even started. And on top of that, you're gonna make it harder for that person to have trust in the next glam site that they go to. I think for most customers, once they break the seal and go to their first glam site, they're like 80% more likely to continue going to other glam sites. So if they have a good experience at my glam site, I'm helping you guys out there, because then when they're in your area, they're likely to check out a glam site and maybe head to yours. Okay, so there's one more tip, and it's actually the biggest one of them all. I think a lot of people that just start glam sites are glossing over it and getting that one wrong. But first, I want to talk to you about this bonus one, and that is listening to others. Do not listen to the ideas or opinions of people who say they would not stay at your glam site if they aren't your customer. If you're selling skateboards, there's no reason to go into like Bed Bath and Beyond and talk to like a middle-aged mom and be like, hey, you want to shred, bro?
How do you do, fellow kids?
So yeah, like there's no point to do that. Like I think a lot of people are psyching themselves out by listening to, you know, family members or people who would never even stay at a glam site in the first place. They're not your customer. Don't listen to their opinions. They would never stay at any glam site, let alone your glam site. So why are you listening to them? I think a lot of people are changing the way that they're running their businesses based off of the opinions of people who would never be their customers. Okay, and finally, the largest problem that I made when I started my glam site, and I think a lot of people who are running their glamping businesses are making this mistake too, is forgetting about egress and degress. What I mean by that is when people first get to your land or, you know, your cabin or whatever your glam site, whatever type of glamping business you're running, your tiny home, A-frame, yurt, dome, I could just rattle them all off. Now, when people get there, how do they get from the road into the structure? I think a lot of people are doing the structure first without ever even thinking about it. Me, myself, I built my cabin, and then 2 years later, I finally decided, okay, yeah, maybe making people walk about, you know, like 2 miles or 1.5 miles uphill up to the cabin, that's not a really smart idea. It's not a good time. So then I finally stopped being cheap and shelled out the money to have a very nice road being built in. And it changed everything. Like I'm not my own customer, but me just being there, like I love being on my land so much more now that I could just drive up to the cabin. It was so difficult when I would bring in supplies and have to walk back and forth. When we were building the cabin, if you go back to those early videos, you'll see us having to walk back and forth with a lot of the material. Or I called up my neighbor and he said that I could drive up on his land and bring it around the back because there's a little creek running through my land. It was just so difficult. I was asking people to pull up and do just that. I remember there were certain times that I was at the cabin with people and we would leave something in the car and we would just straight up say, "Forget it. It's too far away. Like I left my phone in the car. I'll get my phone tomorrow morning. I'm not walking down there." Or also sometimes it was nighttime and I wasn't thinking about the path that people would take to walk back and forth. There was no lighting, there was no structure to it, all of that type of stuff. I know when you're first starting off your glamp site, you want to keep the costs down. And I'm not telling you to splurge and go crazy. I'm just saying, thinking about that path, what makes the most sense, giving people a sense of direction of where to go, those little things can really take you a very long way. I wanted to make sure this video was as quick as possible because I wanted to hurry up and give you guys this information. I really think it's stuff that is going to help you run your glamping business. If you're looking for the best in-depth information on starting a glamping business, there literally is on the internet. Check out the video on screen now. I was lucky enough to get the owners of a successful glamping business in Western New York to give us all of their secrets, tidbits, tips, things to stay away from, all of that. Check the video on the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.